welcome back to the Key and Jay Books podcast. I am your co-host Jay, along with my co-host Key, and today we'll be covering chapters 21 through 25 in Ladarrion Williams' Bones at the Crossroads. Spoiler alert, we are an adult podcast that's saying adult things, and I don't want you to come here thinking that you might not get the little sex, little rants, or might get a little curse word that might slip here. So we just wanted to give you that warning before you jump into the podcast. Also, this is not a spoil-free podcast. We're talking about the book and everything that goes along with the book. But how was your week, Key?
My week was busy. Me and Jay were just talking. We have just been so busy. I thankfully got a little break on the weekend. I finally was blessed to be able to have a day where I didn't have anything to do, which was amazing. And I'm just ready to talk about this book. What about you, Jay?
Hey, long week, kids, school, work, church, all this extra stuff. Wife is just like, oh, where's the room? Where's the space? But
we only get 2 days off. So
exactly. People always say, oh, I like to be off on weekends. Yeah, until you get 2 days because you really work Friday. You only get Friday night off. You know what I'm saying? So, but here we go, man. We are going into chapter 20. Malik goes back home and he's having a talk with Auntie Bridget. And they talk about Sam, and she kind of tells him that, Sam is going to be okay, and they get into the law. Well, Sam is going to be all right. You just got to do what he asks you to do. And I think that it'll make up for the previous things that happened in the previous chapter. But what did you think about Auntie Bridget kind of explaining her backstory in this chapter?
I was happy that the author chose to include Bridget's backstory, because something that I said on one of our previous podcast episodes was I didn't really understand her significance. I knew that she was hanging with Uncle Sam and that was his girl, but him being the king of the underworld, I was like, so what really is her role? And in this chapter we get to kind of see, she says that she is the consort of Baron Samedi and she's associated with death and the underworld. She also says that she was the first woman buried in a graveyard, so which I found really, really interesting, but it also kind of confused me as well, because I still don't know, how did Bridget die? You know what I mean? How did she come to know Baron Samedi? So she's still a little bit of a mystery, but I am glad that the author chose to clear up her history a little bit.
Right, because when we first meet her, she just like, hey, cuzzo, and it's like, who is this lady? You know what I mean? So, and I like the way that they're going through the graveyard, and she's kind of like she's catering to the graveyard. Even the dead needs catering. I like the fact that he symbolized that just because you're dead doesn't mean you can't do your due diligence. You got the lady cleaning off her gravestone, making sure her area is right. She's catering to the lost souls, the one who ain't make it, by giving them drinks, telling them it's going to be all right. Even with the guy who lost his girlfriend to the pregnancy, she's kind of like the mother of the graveyard, where Sam might just drag you down or do what he do. She's like the mother. She has that nurturing that even in death, you still can have this nurturing feeling. So I like the fact that he explained that, and he explained Auntie Bridget's past and what she is and who she is to Sam. And we get a little bit, and then something happens, right? With Malik. Malik gets an owl comes in and hypnotizes Malik as he's kind of like in his room out the window, you know what I'm saying? And it is the person who, what's her name? Marinette?
Yeah.
Marinette. She is the creator of the Lugaroos, right? If I'm not mistaken, she's the creator of the Lugaroos. Malik is like, why are you here? And her magic just knocks him out. So this is their, third encounter?
Yeah, this is their third encounter. He's seen her in a dream. I feel like they went back in time and seen her create the first Lugaroo, and then the owl is perched outside his house and he gets kind of hypnotized. So I thought that was really interesting. We don't really know too much about Marinette. We just know she created the Lugaroo. So I'm really, really intrigued about how she's going to fit into the story, because so far Malik only has interactions with her when he's in this dreamlike state or in like, astral projection and stuff like that. So we don't really know yet who she is, but her power seems to be really, really like great, considering that it was just an owl, Jay, and it completely knocked him out. Like, he could do nothing about it. I also want to go back to Bridget. She said something really, really interesting before Malik leaves Mama Aya's house. She says that Mama Aya's dying wish was for her and Baron Samedi to take care of Tay. And she says Tay is more special than they even know, and that there's still some things to be revealed. So I thought that was really, really interesting, because I've been waiting for Tay to play more of a part in the book other than being Malik's little brother. And so I'm really, really intrigued about what that means. What did Mama Aya see in Tay's future that had her saying, y'all need to watch out for him. My dying breath, I'm telling y'all, you need to watch out for Tay. I thought that was really interesting as well.
And I don't even know how I forget that because I literally have that right here. As she
Mhm.
passed, she asked him to take care of Tay, and she asked him to cut all ties. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? That's why Sam has said he can't sense her presence no more because one of the things I probably thought Mama Aya probably thought that they would try something bringing her back, you know, because how special she was, or maybe kept her spirit around where she just wanted to just kind of ascend and, you know, just go about her business. Don't have me in this dream-like state where I'm on the spiritual side of things. Just let me go cut all ties with me. So I thought that that was dope too. And I
Yep.
did have that in there as well. I'm glad you brought that up, my wonderful
You know, Tay
co-host.
is like after Alexis, he is my.
Hmm.
I mean, of course, Malik is my favorite character. Then it's Alexis, and then it's Tay. Like, I mean, he reminds me so much of my baby brother
Hmm.
Juwan. Like, and I look out for him just like Malik looks out for Tay. So I'm always like, any mention of Tay, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. You know, and he just feels very special to me. So I'm just like,
Right.
I can't wait to see like what his future like holds for the rest of the book.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That was chapter 21. Wasn't that really much in these 5 chapters, y'all? So bear with us on this
Yep.
one. Chapter 22, we get the crew just chilling, right? They watching Titanic, you know, from a blockbuster copy for Delo's film study class, and they kind of get into the whole, you know, the whole aspect. I like this. They get into the aspect, like you know how when you finish watching a movie with your people, it's like, yo, that movie was alright, but yo, the
Yeah.
love scene and Malik kind of talking about, yo, I ain't dying for no girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yep,
like
and the fact
the
that he
chemistry
mentioned that
fact.
part, you know, this is a running joke with the Titanic movie that Rose had enough room on that board for Jack
Come
to
on
fit
now.
in. And I've always thought that Kiki Palmer has always done a little bit where she talks about it. So it was hilarious to see Malik saying the same thing. Like she could have scooted her ass over so that
Right.
Jack could have fit on that board. You know, it's just hilarious that the author decided
True,
to throw
true.
that sense of humor in there. I like that.
And the one thing that Ladarion continues to kind of piss me off with,
I knew you were gonna.
chance to when I do get a chance to speak to him again, I'm gonna ask him because it was a lot of that other guy from the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot
I
of
said
his
that
references.
too. I
You
was like,
know
why
whether
is it constantly Kendrick Lamar? That's literally
right.
a note that I said. Like I said, seriously, why is even literature pushing the Kendrick narrative? Like, come on, I'm sick of hearing about him as if he is the only good black rapper. And I'm cool with J. Cole. I like J. Cole. And I'm not even asking for him to necessarily mention Drake, but it's just Kendrick, 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 Kendrick. And
And then they
I think
choosing Kendrick over
and then,
J. Cole.
but you know
What?
what? I think it's because Kendrick is such a conscientious type rapper. You know what I mean? Like Drake said something funny. You rapping like you
Like you
trying to
trying to
get the
get the
slaves
slaves
free,
free.
and that's kind of like Kendrick's vibe. And this is a move, or excuse me, this is a book about Black excellence and overcoming trials and tribulations. So Kendrick kind of fits with the theme. So I kind of understand why he used Kendrick, but I still am like I'm sick of hearing about Kendrick Lamar. Like
Right.
I'm sick of it.
Done with this dude, man. They kind of
Yes,
make the references of, you know, who's better, Mariah, when he asks Dom who's a better singer, Mariah
yeah,
or Whitney, and
Whitney.
she's like, yo,
Mhm.
I cannot choose. And then
Good
when she
answer,
asks him, it's like, would you choose Kendrick or Drake? He's like, oh, Kendrick. And I'm like,
Kendrick,
damn. I mean, Kendrick or Drake Cole.
J
He's like,
Cole.
oh, Kendrick. I'm like, off the rip, like J.
Yep,
Cole is not that dude. I think J. Cole is a better rapper than Kendrick
I
Lamar.
agree. I
You
would
know what
have
I'm
to agree.
saying?
I would
I
have to
think
agree.
Kendrick just taps in. It's like with those three, and I won't stay on this long, but Drake taps he makes you want to forget and have fun.
Yes.
Kendrick wants you to he wants you to ride and bring that rah rah, you know, and J. Cole just make you feel like, yo, I got bills. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
J. Cole
It's like
yeah, he's like a
everybody
more
does
yes.
different things.
Yeah,
And I'm
everybody
glad
does different things, but it's like I get sick of the Kendrick dick
the
riding. I'm not
narrative.
saying that's what this author is doing, but you know, everybody is like, "Oh my gosh, Kendrick, Kendrick, Kendrick." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't hate Kendrick Lamar. Let me just say that. You know, I don't hate Kendrick Lamar. He's not my favorite. I don't hate him, but it just I've read other books and written by black authors and it's like they seem to push this Kendrick thing like Kendrick
Mm,
Lamar is always mentioned and I'm like there's other black artists even J. Cole is always mentioned there's other black
yep.
artists you know what I
True
mean like
story, true
yeah
story.
but this chapter was again a little bit slow, but it was we are seeing Malik and Dom get closer and closer. They have a moment where she's explaining, "Oh, I did this play and what this means to me." And they have a
Mhm.
moment where they almost kind of kiss, and then Malik backs off again. I knew Jay was going to be upset about that because he's been waiting for them to kind of seal the deal, kiss at least. But
Yep.
again, I told you Malik is not going to get over Alexis that easily. And let me tell you something. I find his grief over Alexis so refreshing and so realistic because when you're in love with somebody, you don't just get over that. You don't just move on. And I just, again, I do think Ladarrion is teasing us a little bit, but it's still like I don't like Dom as much as I like Alexis. So, you know, I'm happy about it.
With me, I was looking at it, I had to come up with a different perspective of how Malik can kind of get Dom. And I and,
Hmm.
and I came up with the thing, man. It's called cheat sheets. You know what I'm saying? It's called cheat sheets. You know, it's like when you're on a diet, right? And you're on a
Okay.
diet and you've been
Okay.
doing good on your diet. You're faithful to
Okay.
your diet. You know what I'm saying? But every now and then you have a cheat meal. And I was like, yo, it's like cheat sheets. I'm always faithful to my diet. You know, it's working, it's doing what I'm supposed to do. But every now and then I help myself to some cheat sheets. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's what I feel like Malik can help himself with when he's speaking to Dom. You know what I'm saying? Little college cheat sheets until, you know what I'm saying? Until Alexis is back in the book. You know,
Oh
because
my
he's been
God.
holding it down. He's been faithful this whole time. He ain't
Mhm.
step out on her with nobody. So at this point, my son deserve a little bit of cheat cheeks.
But it's not really that he doesn't deserve it. I don't think he wants it. That's the thing. It's not like she
Man,
is
this
not
dude
willing and
is
open. Several chapters, she's making it very clear she likes him. She's sensitive to what he's feeling, she's understanding. But he is the one who constantly pumps the brakes because he's like, I don't want her to be my rebound. And I'm telling you, Jay, that shows Malik's maturity. Like he could just be out here wilding like people do in college, just hitting
yeah.
everything running. And he's just like, you know what? I love and care. He didn't say he loved her, but like maybe as a friend, I love and care about this person as a friend. And I don't want to hurt her by moving on too fast if I'm not ready. And I think that they'll eventually get to that point, especially as we talk about these other chapters coming up. They are constantly getting in these moments where they're almost there, almost there. And
Hmm.
he starts complimenting her. Oh, she looks so cute when she does this and this. But we have yet to see them even kiss yet, even though everybody else even is like, what's up with y'all? Like, you know what I mean? What's going on with y'all?
Exactly. Because as you see, when they skip to the guys now, D'Lo and Malik, and they're
Mm-hmm.
home ec class, and they're kind of they're making Mama Aya's famous lemon cake, and
Yes.
then here go Dom. This is what I'm talking about with relationships. Why is Dom has sent Malik a photo? Wish me good luck. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to go
Mm-hmm.
into this rehearsal slash audition, and then Malik is like, yo, all right, I'm gonna send you back a picture. Yo, good luck. You got this. You know what I'm saying? And D-Lo's like, yo, that's your girl. Like, what's going on with y'all? You know what I'm saying? And Malik kind of like shrug it off, like, nah, it ain't nothing. He like, nah, it ain't like that. He like, oh, you still think about Alexis, huh? And he like, nah, it's not like that. I just don't want her to feel like, you know what I'm saying, she a rebound. I'm like, bruh,
Well, and then he did say,
again.
like, the first girl I loved broke my heart. Like, he says that. And I mean, imagine when you're younger, which I haven't really had my heart broken that too many
Yeah, I
times.
did.
Like,
Fuck you,
but
Jamie.
just that first heartbreak, you don't just like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna just bounce back and move on. You know what I mean? Alexis was very
Right.
special to him, and I just am getting, I guess, a little frustrated because I'm waiting, like, where the hell is she? Like, for a character that's not even in the book, she is mentioned so much, and she is still a very big part of the
Of the
story. So I'm just waiting for Ladarrion to like introduce
dust
her
her
back
off.
in. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
come on,
And I
man. Don't
also
get her
love
dust
that
off like that.
I also love that Tay is the one who helped D'Lo and Malik with the
Yep.
cake. I think that he's gonna be doing something with this cooking, Jay. I think something in the cooking is magical. I don't know. The fact that, what did he call it? He said it's like Tay's cooking competition or Tay's
Yeah.
cooking challenge. Yeah, like Tay is really taking on this cooking. And you remember when he first got to Mama Aya's house, they were cooking and it was healing him. He didn't even have to take
Yeah.
his diabetic medication because the food that they were cooking
The
healed him.
naturalness.
Naturalness. And I'm thinking Tay is gonna have some kind of important things with food. I don't know how, but just the fact that he has such a proclivity for cooking, and he got his little girlfriend. We got to see Tay and
Yep.
his girlfriend in this
Sierra.
chapter too. So I thought that was just really cute. I love, like I told you, the more and more interaction you get with
And
Tay.
Malik is acting like the older brother, like, yo, you better have that door open. And he
Yep.
like, yo, chill, bro, chill. Like, I got this. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Like, I got my girl over here. You trying to knock me down? You know what I'm saying? Like, so then after Tay get him the instructions and he hang up on Malik because Malik is being too much of an older brother.
Mhm.
These dudes burn the cake. Basically, they burnt the cake, right? Basically, after that, Malik had to turn down the Jakutas again, right?
Yep.
So we find out that he's not going to pledge
Yep.
at all. You know, he has too much on his plate, and this is when kind of D'Lo gets into, his dad is
What's going
sick,
on with his
and
family?
even
Yep.
though he loves his dad, even though his dad made him do things, you know what I'm saying, whether it was
Took advantage of it.
use his magic to help with gambling debts, to kind of do things, take things, make things move around, make things shake using his magic. D-Lo is like, yo, he's still my family. He kind of only the family, only family that I have left. So I feel like I gotta help him. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though he put him in dangerous situations using his magic, like, I still love my dad and I gotta help him. So I thought that was a cool thing. And that's how the chapter ends with D-Lo kind of explaining. And then, they burnt the cake, obviously. And it kind of ends in between that. And I was like, damn, we need more of a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
Which we gonna
because
get.
there
We
was
gonna get in
we
a
gonna
minute. We
get,
gonna
and
get in a minute.
I also say on this chapter that I was a little disappointed that the chapters didn't start off where the last chapter ended, because the
Uh-huh.
last chapter was the last thing we seen was that Al Malik gets knocked out, you know, we don't know what happened. Is Marinette after him? What up? And then this chapter starts and it's completely different. And Malik only mentions it in passing. That's a very important thing. There's an owl, which represents Lugaroots outside your room, looking at you, and the eyes paralyze you where you can't move and cause you to pass out. That's something that I thought he would immediately go to Professor Tituba, Chancellor Tehran, somebody, and tell them what the heck happened to me. But the fact that it happened and that was such a big thing, and it's just brushed over. I was like, well, what happened with the owl? And as we continue on, that incident is not mentioned in the next few chapters either. So I love that chapter ended on a cliffhanger, but then it's just kind of left dangling because nothing happens with it. So I was like, what's going on with Marinette? I'll say that. And then I'll also say, like you said, I love getting more information on D-Lo. And I understand what he means. He's mad at his dad. But do you agree, like, even if you were mad at your dad, right? He's sick, and D-Lo is saying he's getting even more sick, and you have the power to just heal him easily. It's not going to take anything from D-Lo to do it. So I'm just curious why he's reluctant to do so. Because even if I ain't talked to my daddy, you know what I mean? He made me mad. If he's dying and I have the power to just fix him like that, why would I not? You know what I mean? That don't even mean I have to fuck with him after that. Just, all right, don't ask me to do nothing else, but this is your health. I can help you with that. You know what I mean? I thought that was, but Ladarrion did say on one of his Instagrams, because I told you I stalk him, he said that we're going to get more of D-Lo's story in the next book. So
I saw that. I did see that. I ain't had to jump in there because I was about to jump in there and, you know what I'm saying, hit him up. Like, yo, LD, what's up, B?
What's going on?
What's going on? But chapter 23, I think, is my favorite chapter in the book. To me, chapter 23 is how black colleges should be. So just think, right? Stomp the yard when, the Thetas and when they came through and they was like all pledge knucklehead and Showtime and pork chop extra gravy and all that, right? This is exactly what it was. It was the homecoming nominations for Savant for everybody, right? And then you get the daughters, Daughters of Oshun.
Mm-hmm.
They come through. I'm gonna let you go ahead explain the Daughters of Oshun. Go ahead.
Well, okay.
Well, what happened at the homecoming rally? To me, that's what
I would just be honest. I know that Jay said this was his favorite chapter. This was my least favorite chapter. I don't know. I felt like, okay, Daughters of Oshun, okay, one display of like them showing out, okay, but then I just feel like it just kept going and going. I feel like we didn't need to know every single sorority and fraternity what they were doing, especially because the main characters are not in these sororities or fraternities, so it was just like, these are characters, just random characters, and we're just watching them, which I loved. I think it was such an accurate representation of what happens when you're strolling and you showing off like, look at me. I thought that was really cool. Daughters of Oshun, I believe that is one of the sororities that Alexis wanted to attend, and Malik even says, it made him sad for everything that Alexis is missing because she's wherever she's at, But I'll let you take it away. This was your favorite chapter. I'm telling you, I was just like, okay, that's nice, and then it kept going, and I was like, all right. I skimmed a couple parts because I'm like, well, they still strolling. Okay, let me skim some more.
So basically, you got the Daughters of Oshun. They coming through. They saying their pledges. They saying, who are we, the Daughters of Oshun? You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody is basically, they repping they set, right? This is what it is. It's showing out. They coming through. They repping they set. They doing their dances. Everybody that's been nominated. You got the big sister. What's her name? Kedra.
Well,
you got Kedra out there. Well, no, I'm saying like she the big sister. It's like she was showing out. They was like, big sister Kedra. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was out there dancing and moving her hips. And even Malik was like, damn, she moving her hips. She a little baddie too. She a little baddie. So I'm like, Malik, you gotta chill, bro. You gotta chill. You ain't even trying to make up on Dom, so don't even try to go your hands with the big dog.
Gosh.
You know what I'm saying? So after the girls of Daughters of Oshun show out, you get the dudes in the howling of the moon. They come through, and we get the Jakutas. They coming through, doing the same thing the Daughters of Oshun do. They repping they set. The crowd is moving around. Everybody like move out the way. You know what I'm saying? Here come the Jakutas, and you got people ad-libbing in the background like, show out, girlfriend. Get the motherfucking son. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody, you got people just going crazy. Everybody shouting and all that. It's a good time. This is how college should be. This is Stomp the Yard. So then they come through. The dude, I forgot the leader's name, but he kind of said, who y'all love? You know what I'm saying? And everybody,
Kevon?
Kevon, because Kevon and Kedra is they dating. So he was like, who y'all love? They're like, I don't check on us. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody came through, D-Lo saying his little thing, and you know what I mean? So I thought that was like an ill thing. Then everybody, after they set it off, big sister Kedra should get the nomination jump. She get the nominations. And we get the nominees, man. We get the nominees. The first group up is Kedra and
Kevon.
and Kevon, they running. So of course you're gonna have the two top dogs from
And
each
they're
faction
seniors. And they're
and their
seniors.
seniors. Each faction get the love. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Then we get somebody, what is it, Daniel? What's his name? Daniel? I think his
D'Angelo.
name D'Angelo. I say
Because that's
D'Angelo.
D'Lo's nickname. Yep. I'm gonna
D'Angelo,
tell you,
and
he was called D'Lo so much in the book when they said D'Angelo
I
Green. I
didn't
was
know
like,
who they were. I was like,
literally,
what?
I was like, who is
Right,
that?
right, right. So then you
Well, but it was D'Lo and I
yeah.
knew it when he was like, he brought Savon up, and I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
D'Lo. I was so confused. Like, who the hell is D'Angelo?
Exactly, exactly. Then we get a surprise.
We get
And
a
this took me
surprise.
back to Harry Potter. Remember when they doing the
Yes.
drawing of and then it was like Harry Potter. And
Harry
it was
Potter and
like,
the Goblet of Fire.
right.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
he's like, did you put your name in that? He's like, yo, I didn't, I'm here with you. Like I've been here with you this
Exactly.
whole time. And then we get Malik. Malik is called as a homecoming nominee.
And he's a freshman.
And
That
he's a
doesn't even
freshman.
usually
So
happen.
who the hell nominated Malik? Not only that, he gets Dom as his queen,
Yep.
as his queen nominee. And
Yep.
I'm like, it's about to shake because you know Savon is going to be sick and it's going to cause a rift in between the gang. This is
Of course
literally what
it
it's going to
is,
do.
which I thought this was such an excellent twist, and it was such an excellent way
Mm-hmm.
to stir things up in a way that made sense. And I felt the same way when Malik got nominated. I was like, "What?" I mean, it made
Yep, I
sense.
didn't expect
Everybody
that.
knows that he's the reason why Homecoming wasn't canceled. So of course they want to like, thank you, Malik. Let's nominate him. You know what I mean? Because you went and talked to Chancellor about not canceling
Mm-hmm.
it. You know, but like you said, this is definitely going to create some tension. I don't think
Yep.
him and D'Lo are going to get into it because they're like
Nah,
they're good
they're
friends.
cool.
D'Lo is good. You know, he's not really too concerned. But Savon, it's just really important to
Yes.
them to have representation, and they have tried so hard to get this, and now they have to compete against someone who's a really, really good friend of theirs. So I definitely think it's going to create a little bit of a rift. But I'm happy for it. I love the drama.
Competition,
I loved
drama,
it.
competition. The gang ain't the gang no more like
No,
that. And Savon looks disappointed as this chapter ends, as everybody's kind of like taking their last photos, and everybody's like, just there. We got the king and queens of the 2025, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever year it is. And then they kind of like everybody posing, getting pictures, but then Savon looks like disappointed because it's like, damn, Malik is my homie. So it's like, I got to
and
go
now
against
gotta
him.
compete.
And now I
Exactly.
got to compete against him. So I think that that's going to trickle down later on as you get to the chapters until whatever happens homecoming night happens. You
Oh,
know
I
what I'm
can't wait
saying?
till we get to that chapter because I'm like, who won? It's gonna be crazy. And I think, Malik didn't even really want to be nominated. That's the
No,
thing.
he
And you'll
didn't
see
even
that in
know
the chapters to come. He's kind of like, I already got too much shit going on,
going
and
on.
y'all
Like
didn't
I ain't
nominate me
really,
for
it's
this,
not for me.
But it's important to Dom, you know what I mean? So I think because it's important to her that it's gonna be important.
Right, right.
Yep.
So chapter 24, when Dom and Malik are looking through the yearbooks, they back in the Devon Elam
Yep.
practicing spells because they got to
Yep.
keep doing it. They got to keep filling up their grimoire with spells. And then they kind of just start looking through the yearbooks of the past king and queens. And we get to see Taryn and Malik's mom, Lorraine,
Lorraine.
together.
Yep.
And there's multiple pictures in there of them kind of kissing and Taryn just
Because they
taking
were together.
pictures
They were in
because they was
love.
together. They was in love, right? And then we get to see this jotting down. Something happens to Malik's grimoire. It just starts jotting down like a spell or whatever the case may be, and it forms then he's magically forms some symbols onto the page. So I'm like, oh, so the grimoire just start writing whenever a spell
Yeah.
conjures and it
Yeah.
comes and you have to flow with it. So you throwing your spell on the page and all of a sudden they're transported off campus,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
As and they transport it into like some type of past.
Mm-hmm.
And this was kind of confusing to me, but then Tatuba kind of summed it up. So basically, when they went back, they seen some older people that was just chilling, and the older people kind of reached out to them, right?
Yep.
And then he's basically like the past ancestors, and they want Malik to save them. Like when he comes back too. So after he's transported there and he sees them, he kind of gets sucked back into the present, and that's when Tatuba just pops up. And she starts to talk to them about the Atlantic slave trade and how people want to, they want to get saved because I guess they still stuck in purgatory
The
from
souls
what
are
I'm
stuck.
saying.
Yeah.
Their souls are stuck. So as long as their souls are stuck, they can't move. So they're kind of looking for Malik to save them.
Yep. I was confused just like you were on this part. First of all, I think we need a little bit more explanation for what a grimoire is, because the whole time I'm thinking that it's a journal that they are dictating their notes in, but it seems like the grimoire is a magical thing. It comes alive. And that was a critique that I had at the end of this chapter. I feel like the transitions in the book are kind of shaky. Like, Malik will be doing one thing and then he'll just be doing something else. It's like, how did he get there? Like, the process of getting there is a little confusing. So I do understand what you said as well. But Professor Tatuba does try to clarify when Malik goes back to the past, he's finally connecting with his ancestors. Now, this is again the part where it confused me. The ancestors don't really say anything to Malik.
They
They
just
see
look at
him,
him
they
and
have this
smile.
like brief chat, and then he gets sucked back in. And then Tatuba is like, you see, they want you to save the souls. And I'm like, when did the ancestors say that? Where was any indication that was what they wanted? And again, I just feel like it has to make sense. If the ancestor says something like, Malik, help us, we need your help, then I can understand Tatuba being like, hey, this is what they meant. But they didn't say anything like that. They were just like, hey, what's up? What's up, fam?
What's
And
up?
then,
What's
you know
up?
what I mean?
Yo,
And
come
then he
help
went
me,
back.
bro.
Yeah. And then she's like, and again, I'm not opposed to that. Many people have said about the Atlantic slave trade, how the slaves jumped off the ship and many of them were lost at sea. I think it's really interesting that he decided to put that in, but I wonder if this is something that he actually wants to tackle, because that's a really, really big issue.
Right.
So I did think that was interesting, if a little bit confusing. So I agree.
But then he gets sucked right back into Terrence's
Again.
memory. And it was in Terrence's memory, but he's back in Nolan's crib.
Yep.
Right? So he's in Terrence's memory, but he's in Nolan's crib. So I'm like, okay, where are we going with this? I guess he has his own imagination, but still is using Terrence's imagination as well. And then we fast forward into when he looks at a picture of his mom and Chancellor Terran, he goes into a time where they was together, right? Where they was hugged up and kissing and stuff like that. And then it goes back into Celeste when him and Celeste is now together and they're chilling. And Dr. Aquila, well, she wasn't a doctor, she was Aquila. When she comes up, because she knows from trying to open her grimoire, the old girl Lorraine snapped her up by her neck, like, yo, what you doing with this girl? Like, you tripping, bro. Like, she ain't.
How
That's
angry
like that
Lorraine.
Alexis and Dom. You know how angry Lorraine is going to be. He like, yo, what are you talking about? She can't even get on campus no more. She chose her way. Like, I'm out here. You know what Chancellor Terran is doing? That's the same thing Malik should be doing. I wanted to bring that up. You see how Chancellor Terran's like, yo, she ain't here. She chose her path. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm out here doing me. I'm getting some cheat cheeks. And her homegirl is like, nah, because she got eyes like she screw face or something from back. No, he's like, yo, she can't even get on campus. Like, chill out. Aquila's like,
But I mean, she was well to warn her,
she
because
don't
we
let
see what
nothing go.
happened.
She don't let nothing go.
Lorraine ended up being the reason that Chancellor lost his wife and his child. So Aquila was just trying to warn him, look, you moving on too fast. You out in the open with this. You know how crazy Lorraine is. She's not going to like that. Again, but like you said, Malik is, of course, in the Sacratum. And then all of a sudden, now he's in Chancellor Terran's like past. And again, where is the transition? How did he jump in, jump out, jump back? It happened really, really fast. And I was like, okay, so where is he when this is happening? But again, I think it's interesting, like him going back in time and seeing that Aquila tried to warn her, like, look,
yo,
man,
chill out, bro. She will come
she's
back
crazy.
and wow on you.
She is going to be so upset. Yes. Yep.
And then they talk about mama. So then we get Lorraine, right? So now he meets it. This is another thing too, right? He gets into, so now he's back into the jump and he comes into a dream world, right? And now he's in the dream world and he like almost like what is it, when Insidious, when the girl, when Dalvin, whatever his name was, you know what I'm saying? He could dream walk. So now he's dream walking, right? And he goes outside. He ends up outside in front of the campus, in the middle of campus. And over there in what is it? The thing,
doorway.
What they call them, Jones, man? Where you go into the little buggy room on the outside. I forgot the name they call it, because we got one at my job too, where they go into the, smoking areas. Like, I forgot what they call it. But anyway, his mother's over there. And they're getting, like, she starts talking to him about Mama Aya, and she kind of gets defensive, like, yo, I didn't mean for that to happen. And the snappiness in her voice made me feel like she didn't plan for it to go like that. I don't think she wanted her mother to die. Like, this chapter confirmed for me that it wasn't her intentions for her mother to die. She just really wanted the book. You know what I'm saying? I don't think she even wanted to deal with her mother. I think she just came here to get the book, and she wasn't even supposed to be resurrected there, probably. You know what I'm saying? I think she probably wanted to be resurrected
Mama Aya
somewhere
was
else.
going to die regardless, though. We all
Right.
know that. She made a deal to find Malik. It was implied in the last book. So regardless. But yeah, I agree. The mom was really, I believed her. She did not mean for it to happen the way it did. And she keeps saying, what did she say? Like, it wasn't supposed to happen like
Oh,
this, or and again, we don't really know that much about Malik's mom's motives. Like, even when people
I
say, why
can't
did
wait
she
till her
go bad?
backstory.
They're just like, oh, she just got into baneful magic and just went bad. Why though? Why? She's
Right.
obviously like, why? Like,
Did she make a deal with
did
somebody?
she make
Like,
a
what's
deal?
happening?
Exactly. But it was interesting that she was telling Malik, me and you will always be spiritually connected because you are my
Always
son.
my son.
And she was like, they are keeping me from you. And she acknowledged that she cannot get on campus because of Chancellor Tehran's like, what did he do?
Little itty
Little
bitty
face
magic,
tell. She giggled.
right,
She giggled about it, like that little flimsy thing.
the
You can
little
say how
flimsy
she wants,
thing.
you still
Like,
can't get on
he
campus.
still
So
can't get on
you
there.
still can't get
She
on
just
campus.
mad at Taryn because Taryn moved on. That's
He
all.
moved on,
Right.
and yeah, and he has every right to like literally take her by the neck and just, I mean, she killed his son and his wife. Like, but yeah, we get to see her more sensitive side here. She really didn't seem
Yes.
like she wanted Malik to argue with her. And Malik admits he's not scared of his mom necessarily. I mean, he gets his Kave magic ready to battle her. He says, I don't trust you. That's the problem.
And I think that hurt her. I
Of
think
course
that
it
hurt
hurt her.
her.
Yep.
I don't trust you. Like,
Why would she think that he would trust her?
because
Why?
we don't know what her ulterior motive is.
We
We don't
don't.
know what she got going on. So of course he gonna say, you know what I'm saying, he don't trust her. And
Yep.
that's he wakes up again. And I hate that he just go back in and he
In this
wakes up
chapter, it
and
happened
then
3 times that he
right.
jumps into these different
And
worlds. And
1, 2,
again,
3.
the
Hopefully Ladarrion
transitions
explain
are
it again.
not very well. Like, it's just, we don't know where he's at. He's in a world, he comes back, he's somewhere else. How did he get here? Then he goes right back. I just feel like in this chapter, it was a lot for him to happen 3 times in one chapter. It was a lot going on. Yeah.
And my least favorite chapter, but I like this chapter because 23 was my favorite. 24 was like a jump. 25 is where I've been waiting for this moment, right?
Yep.
So we get into the misgender role. We get into Malik and then some dude, right? Kind of getting into it. They all have to meet. They meet up somewhere, and like I forgot where they meet up at, but they're somewhere. And they basically, it's a dude getting into it with Malik about his representation of Savan. And dude is like, I'm voting for you, but I'm not voting for whoever that Negro is, right? And he's like, yo, you misrepresenting him, right? And dude was like, yo, bro, what are you talking about? Like, you supposed to be with me. Like, we ain't trying to get them. He didn't even say them. We ain't trying to get that person or he. He always referred to him as he. He never called him a female. So Malik just kind of gets all antsy about, you know what I'm saying, like him disrespecting Savan.
Yeah.
And basically, Savan come over there. So Dom grabbed Malik. Basically, just think about it. Malik and dude arguing about him misgenderizing Savan. Dom grabbed Malik, like, yo, chill, we not going to do this. You know what I'm saying? Not here. Savan walks over. What y'all got going on? Da, da, da. Dude talk crazy to Savan. Malik is like, yo, who you talking to, nigga? Now everybody gathering together. Elijah come over there. Like, so what's up? What we doing? And then son take off on Savan. I felt bad. Because I'm like, yo, why you ain't take off on Malik? Why you ain't take off on Elijah? You took off on Savan.
You know why he took off on Savan.
I know, and this is where they kind of get into it, everybody scrapping, doing a thing, you know what I'm saying? Then Professor, what is his name?
Davidson.
Professor Davidson, he comes through, smash everybody against the wall. Like, yo, what are y'all doing? But before that, though, it was a lot of Negro this and Negro that. I ain't gonna say the other word, but it was a lot of Negro this, N-word this, N-word this. I'll beat your mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't play with me, I'll slap. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of that going on. I'm bypassing that part because there was a lot of language that we can't talk about, basically due to the restrictions of the internet. And they don't want to get you know what I'm saying? We want to get this out there. But basically, it was a lot of rah-rah talk before the fight happened, right? The fight happened, everybody squaring up, doing their thing. Professor Davidson come through, split everybody up. Y'all better stop this and stop this right now. Y'all know where y'all at right now? You know what I'm saying? And then everybody chilled, and as they walk away, Elijah got this face like, I'm going to kill this moth. You know what I'm saying? Like, because even Malik was like, yo, this dude, he going to meetings, but he looked like deranged right now almost. And we already know from the previous chapter how Elijah feels about his brother. So what did you think?
I felt bad for Savan in this chapter. I really did, because having that representation, being nominated, was really important to them. And now we can understand why that was important, because of the people who are still, homophobic in the Black community, especially on Cayman University. They even were talking shit about D-Lo. The girl was like, yeah, but why is he kind of, you know what I mean? Because D-Lo is bisexual. And D-Lo talks about that when he was in the therapy session with Dr. Davidson. Like, he's tired of, facing backlash on his bisexuality, and people feel some kind of way about, oh, you got to like one or the other. So that's always, I think, been really important to Ladarrion, is to definitely have representation of the LGBTQ community through his writing and through his books. And I really love that when the people are talking crap, Malik doesn't hesitate. He immediately defends Savon. And that's always the way it should be. You know, Savon is his person, that's his friend, and Malik will always defend them. And I really like that. I love that the guys got into fight. I love the drama. I was like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
whoop his ass, whoop his ass.
A lot of drama filled things going on in this
Yes.
chapter. And then I like what LD did. I definitely got to give him props because this is what the book was missing. You know what I'm saying? They talked about it, but we didn't have no situations where somebody was misrepresented.
So we
And
could see
he
why it was so important that it was needed.
tackled this
Exactly.
situation. If we
Exactly.
gonna give him some criticism, we got to give him some props. And props to you for incorporating this in a way where we know how it is in the school. You say it's one thing, you know, it's gonna lead to another. Groups get to hitting and fighting, and it
Exactly.
happens. And we go about our separate ways. So then they end up in front of Empress Bonclair.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Madame Bonclair. And, you know, she's scolding them. You know, only the gang is there though. She's scolding the gang. The other people, like Malik said, the other people is not here. And then
Because
she's
they're
like,
not
they're
part of
not
the homecoming
nominated.
board.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? They're not part of homecoming. So I got that, but then I didn't get why they shouldn't have been there, either receiving some type of punishment. But then that would have just been added more characters to, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he didn't want to add more characters, which is understandable. We know it was a fight with a random dude. And she's kind of scolding them. And, you know, Savant tries to explain to her, you know, this is why I was hit. Like I was attacked. Like I'm the victim, you know, and
Right. They were just defending themselves.
they was defending themselves. And she makes a little they make a little comment that, yeah, the faculty don't, I'm pretty sure, because she was like, oh, I can get y'all all, you know, thrown out of this homecoming. And she's like, yeah, because y'all don't really want change. And we know the faculty don't want that. I like the fact that, you know, he kind of they stood up for themselves, you know, and kind of threw the elephant in the room, you know, and she kind of brushed around it. She didn't really attack it like head on. She just kind of said, well, that's because they're not in this class. You guys are, you know what I'm saying? And I'll see you in etiquette class. You know, we'll teach y'all the proper ways of how you should carry yourself as homecoming nominees.
Yep. And the thing is, like you said, I can kind of agree with what she's saying. Like, we can't have the homecoming king and queen be someone who's involved in fights, bad behavior. You know what I mean? This is an honor. Dom was talking about this in the previous chapter. We are about to be among the greats of Cambridge University, even as nominees. You know, this is a legacy we're leaving behind, and you don't want it to be a legacy of fighting and negativeness, you know. But I still feel like she came down really hard on all of them when none of them were the instigators. Like, they were the ones who were attacked, and they were just defending themselves. And I've always thought this, you know, if somebody hits me and I defend myself, why are you trying to come attack me? I didn't hit anybody. I didn't put my hands on anybody. So why are you mad at me? Because I simply defended myself. I shouldn't get in trouble. What do you want me to do? Go tell a teacher we're not in 5th grade? You know what I mean? For 18 and 19 years old,
Go
I'm
tell
not
the
going to say,
teacher's crazy.
Professor Davidson, he hit me.
Right.
Like, the fuck? Like, I'm going to beat his ass. Just like, you know, that's
That's a
what we're going
fact.
to do. We're adults, you know, like, or I'm going to call the police. But, you know, they're college kids. Of course they're going to fight, you know? So
Right.
I understood where she was coming from, but I also didn't like how she made this slick ass comment. She was like, well, Malik, why is it every time there's trouble, you're always around? So I definitely think she has it out for Malik. I hated that Chancellor Tehran never stands up to his mom.
Bruh.
That was something that Malik noticed. Like, she's just running her mouth and he's just kind of sitting there like, like, okay. All right, you guys have a great day. You know, it's just like, look,
We'll talk to you guys later.
Something you said. You remember how Tehran and Malik are kind of in the same situation? They both had women who went bad. We still don't know if that's his dad or not.
Talk to me.
You know?
Talk to me.
We still don't know.
I hope we find out in book 2, man. I don't want to find out in book 3 during the last book, because then it's like, I want them to go through the whole jaunt. I want them to have conversations. I don't want it to be at the end of book 3. You know what I'm saying? Like,
can't possibly be his dad though, because the fact that he lost his child, you know what I mean? Tehran lost his son. I just feel like,
what if she left because she was pregnant?
I mean, but he would still know that if that's his son. He would know.
Unless
There's no
she
way
cast some type of I don't know. I mean, we gotta see what LD got. We gotta see what LD got when we talk to him again.
He lost his son. His son is dead. And
right.
to think that he would have a chance, like, okay, maybe that son is dead, but I have a chance with Malik. You know what I mean?
Right.
To be a father, I never got a chance to be. I feel like he wouldn't pass that up. But, you know, he's there for Malik when Malik wants to talk, but he doesn't necessarily search him out or anything. So I don't know. I'm just still curious. Those are questions I have. Where's Alexis? Where is Malik's dad? And then we forgot to talk about this in the last chapter. We did find out what happened to Danja.
What happened to him?
Okay, so in the last chapter, when Malik was going over those spells in the book,
you say Danja, I say Danye.
Danye, you're probably right because Danja sounds crazy.
I think it's Danye because it's D-A.
Is it that what it is? I thought it was D-O-N. Let me see where I got it.
Is it D-O-N? I thought it was D-A-N-Y-E. Could be wrong, but he says Danye. He doesn't say Danja. Like in the audio book, they say Danye.
Oh, okay. So you got the cheat. What'd you got? Cheat keats?
I got the cheat sheet. I got the cheat sheet, not the cheat cheeks. I got the cheat sheet, not the cheat cheeks.
There's this spell where if you have intention, you can lock someone basically in to be perpetually tortured or something. And he makes a comment like, "Oh, so that's what happened to Danye." So we do know Danye.
I told you he didn't kill him.
Yeah, you did say that.
I told you he didn't kill him.
We talked about he could be stuck somewhere like Malik's mom was. And I think that's exactly what's happening. In purgatory, exactly. So we do know where Danye is. We still just don't know where Alexis is. We don't know who Malik's dad is. And those are the questions that I have.
And the chapter ends with Tituba training them against Lugaroos, and we get to see more of Dom's power as her little magic doll, her voodoo doll. You know what I'm saying? Like, because Tituba scolds Malik because she's like, yo, you ain't gonna always be there to save her. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes she gotta fend for herself because she's basically got scratched or something like that. Yep. Or she was close to getting scratched from the Woogaloos, and we know what happened with that from the last. But Tutuba's right. You can't save everybody. People got to learn how to fend for themselves on a battlefield, you know. And we get to see Dom's magic of her voodoo doll, her massive voodoo doll. And she takes out the Lugaroos. I like the fact that he implemented this like the X-Men training center when they used to fight against the Sentinels.
I see
and
that
it was like
head.
Virtual reality. That's exactly what I thought of the first. I forgot what it, the War Room or something like that, and how the X-Men used to train in there. So she got them training to fight Woogaloos, which is great because they're learning their spells, but they don't have no battlefield action. So how would they know how the Woogaloos move around or their positioning and kind of just fighting them and everything like that? So I thought that was awesome.
It reminds me of the what is it? You know, in Harry Potter, where the thing comes out of the closet that they're fighting. I can't think of the word for it.
Me neither. They got Harry Potter got way too many words.
Okay, you remember what is it? The spell to fix it is ridiculous. Do you remember? Oh my gosh, it was Professor Lupin.
Now you gonna make me have to go back and watch Harry Potter.
Lupin. Remember when they had to battle their deepest fears and they came out of that big old cupboard and one of Harry's deepest fears was a Dementor, and to get rid of it, you had to say ridiculous. It starts with the P.
I keep thinking it's Expelliarmus.
It's not. No, Expelliarmus is, stealing your wine. Anyway, but that's what it reminded me of, is that they're fighting and they're pretending to fight these things and knowing how to defeat it so that they can be really ready for the real battle, which I'm happy that she has them doing. But I was confused because first she said the point of the Divani Lamb is to save the ancestors. Mm-hmm. Now it's, now you guys have to fight the Lugaroos and the Boncours. I'm like, so what is it? One, and then two, since the goal of the Divani Lamb is now to save the ancestors, was the previous Divani Lamb, was that their goal as well? Because I don't remember Professor or Chancellor Tehran talking about that. So their goal, I don't know, maybe the Divine Lamb just does a little bit of everything. And she's just trying to teach them, this is everything. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's all of it. But yeah, I thought it was really cool, the fighting sequence and seeing Dom get her confidence back. Because remember, that's why she was losing confidence. I mean, this is the animal that killed her. You know what I mean? She was dead. Of course, she's going to be a little shaky fighting it, but she overcome and she killed it. So I was like, go girl. Even though I don't like her as much as Alexis, I don't want her to die. So I'm happy that she knows how to fight.
So bring it home for me. What was the last thing that happened in the chapter of 25?
Okay, so the last thing that happens is Tituba tells Malik that the Boncours are going rogue. So I found that to be really, really interesting. So after they get done fighting, okay, she says, hey, Alexis, not Alexis. See, I got her on my mind. Hey, Dom, do you mind if I talk to Malik alone? And that's what she says. She tells her the Boncours are going rogue, and that's basically it. Your mom promised them something that she can't deliver on. And Malik is like, she wants the scroll. And Tituba's like, exactly. This is the part that confused me, Jay. Malik then says, but I am the scroll. And Tituba says, okay, and don't let anybody know that because they will kill you and harvest your magic. This confuses me because remember, I thought that he put the scroll in his grimoire.
On the paper, unless it's a carbon copy. And maybe that's for lineage because the other grimoires are there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are there. So maybe it's like you're passing down, because remember, it's knowledge that's passed down. Because remember, they're
Right.
looking at other grimoires, learning those spells too. So maybe him projecting is him like copy and pasting. Like
Okay.
this is my spell from still in me, but
Okay.
I'm placing them on a page, almost like I'm writing down my legacy as I go. Because they have other grimoires that they're studying from too, and they're learning new spells. So maybe this is for every Divine Elam member has to have a grimoire for the next group so they can kind of study what they had already, what they mastered and what they learned. Because
I
that's
mean,
what I'm
maybe
kind of
you're
figuring
right.
out.
I mean, that
Has to
makes more
be.
sense
Has
than
to
what I
be.
was thinking of because I was like, wait, I thought that he put the scroll in the book, and then he was like, but I am the scroll. And then the chapter ends with her saying that they still need that third member, the seer,
Mhm.
to complete the initiation. This is again
Right.
something that confused me. I'm like, what initiation? But I guess it's this initiation to kind of like join the divine elam all the way together. But she says she's waiting for that person to make themselves visible. Like she's waiting for word of who this seer is. They don't have
Can't
a
wait.
seer yet. I can't wait. Some questions I had again, how would Tatuba know what the Bonkors are up to? That shocked the hell out of me. I'm not gonna lie to you because the only reason why
Come on now.
Malik knew, remember, because he astral projected and he's seen his mom and Kumale having that discussion. How would she know what the
Unless the
Bonkors
tuba
are
was
doing?
is secretly
Or
spying
unless
on him or something like
that's what
that.
I'm thinking. Or unless she's taking the knowledge, because when he did jump in and discovered that about the Bunkor, she was there because remember she was the one that's like, "Don't do this again; it's dangerous." So maybe I don't know, but she told him straight up, like, "Yeah, they may be going rogue." And I thought that was interesting that she knew those things. They have another discussion. He's like, "You know why my mom turned bad?" And she was like, "I was there. She didn't want to live up to be. It was hard for her to live up to being Mama Aya's daughter." And she kept learning more and more, and then she got into baneful magic and it turned her bad. But she keeps reassuring Malik, you are not your mother, you are still a good person, please know that. So I don't know, I still just don't really trust her, to be
We're
honest.
gonna give Ladarrion Williams the benefit of the doubt with the book, and we're in the middle of the book right now.
We in the
So
middle.
maybe as the next couple chapters go on, time will tell. And we'll be covering chapters 26 to 30. We'll be covering chapters 26 through 30 next week's episode, and hopefully we can get closer because the problem is, you want to know why we have these questions and why we're not sure is because we haven't finished the book.
We haven't finished the book.
So for y'all, we're reading and we're not reading ahead because we would know the answers and maybe all
Exactly.
would end well and it would sit well with us better. But we're just reading them week by week, so that way we're coming in here with the same type of knowledge you guys have, and we're just
Exactly.
feeding off of what we've done for the next week.
Exactly.
But next week we'll be back with chapters 26 through 30. If there's anything
Yep.
that we missed or anything that you guys want to talk about, please comment down below in the book. Again, this is the Key and Jay Booked Podcast. I'm your co-host Jay with my co-host Key. She's that reader. I'm just a speaker. Peace.